And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today we're looking at a two-player game called Boom and Zoom. It almost sounds like something that a town would call their 4th of July celebration. But Boom and Zoom is a two-player abstract game in which players control, are they robots or towers? I'm not sure what they are. Oh, they're laser tower vehicles. Okay, I guess that's kind of a robot. But basically you have pieces that are moving and shooting at one another. There's multiple levels of how you can play the game. Let me show you. The board is made of 5 puzzle pieces that are all held together by this one piece in the middle. Aha. Let's try to put that piece in properly. So I can put this piece in here, and all is well. Each player in the basic game, well, I guess I should explain some of this game. What the rule book does here is it talks about missions, and it gives you each mission. But in reality, what they're doing is they're adding one rule at a time until you get to the last couple missions, which actually are specific missions that you can play. So in the base game, each player is going to start with these towers, and you'll stack these pieces on top of each other for these towers. And you can see that I'm putting a 1 on top of a 2, and a 3 on top of a 2 on top of a 1. And that's a base tower that everyone starts with, so you can see how that piece looks. And you'll have enough of these per side so that both of you start with equal pieces. And on your turn, you are allowed to boom them or zoom them. When booming a piece, you may shoot at something that's in a straight line. And how far is your range? Well, it's equal to the top number of your piece. So this 3 here can shoot at this red piece. So boom, he hits it and knocks off this. And that's a red piece that's destroyed and put on the red person's side in a destroyed pile of shame. And then if this red piece doesn't do anything on a future turn, he can destroy it again next turn. Or maybe somebody else could have shot at it. You can also zoom, which is the same thing. You can move the amount of spaces or less, and you can move in a straight line. Both moving and shooting can be blocked by other units. You can't shoot through other pieces, and so on and so forth. So you can see as you get shot up, your options of moving and zooming are much less. You can also play a variant where you can move and zoom. What that does basically lets you move and shoot, but the moving and shooting together can't be more than the number on the tower. So I can move 1 and shoot 2, or I can move 2 and shoot 1, and so on and so forth. Now, this is getting kind of crazy. You want better towers, so you can play with a variable setup where you have 28 points per side, and you can build towers that go up to 4, or even go all the way up to 5. And you can see that a 5 tower is very powerful. You can also play with a veteran tower, in which case you turn all the pieces over to their white side, like that red one you saw earlier. And this one can move, boom or zoom, 1 more than the number shown on it. You can also kind of increase the experience of a tower. You can turn one over on your turn instead of moving it, and then next time he goes, he can move 6. This one, because he's a 5 tower. And then you can add in terrain. And each type of terrain that you add on the board will have different effects. And if that's not good enough, what you can do is you can turn the whole board over, and on the other side of the board, it's basically just a giant board, so you have more room to move around. You'll have to use the large 5 towers, really, because there's so much extra space on here, but that's basically it. At the end of the game, you will get points for each tower that you have crossed your opponent's line with. See, during the course of the game, you can take your tower and you can run across your opponent's line, and then it comes off. And you'll get a point for each piece of your tower that comes off. Although if you play with the more advanced rules, you get points equal to the piece numbers of the towers you moved off. That's the way I like to play. And so the destroyed towers don't give you any points. You basically destroy towers so they can't get off your side. Once that has been accomplished, whoever has once nobody can move, or all the towers have been destroyed, or whatever has happened, then whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. Boom and Zoom, the components are good. I'm impressed for this company, Victor Point Games. Their components haven't always been the highest of quality, but these are good. The only problem with these components is when you first get them, you have to wipe them off, and you wipe your fingers off. The first time we played the game, our fingers were kind of inky from playing, and that was after we had wiped them off. So that does go away, though. I don't see any ink on my hands now, so it seems that that has improved, but just be warned that that's there. As for the gameplay itself, it's okay. I tried it with all these different scenarios and different things, and it got better the more rules we added. That first basic game with the 3 towers, I mean, boring. Because really, it's Boom and Zoom is the name of the game, and that's all you do. You don't get any real benefit of like joy out of booming stuff, because you boom a piece off and then they boom a piece of yours, and then you move. It never really feels like you're getting anywhere. It feels like trench warfare. There's no like super speedy things. You don't feel like you're setting up for some awesome thing, because anytime you put yourself to where you can get a piece, that piece can get you. Take, for example, chess. Chess is fun because you can put your knight in a position where he can get the opponent's queen and the queen can't get them, so they have to move to another spot. That doesn't happen here unless your piece is stronger than the opposing piece, and in which case, what are they supposed to do? A weaker piece can't get a stronger piece without that stronger piece also being able to get you. So, I don't know. It's a decent game. It plays okay, but I was just kind of bored by it. Even the different scenarios of the terrain, and the terrain is just gobbledygook. It adds a level of complexity, really, because you're like, oh, what does that terrain do? What does this do? What does that do? It's really not worth it to add to a game at all. Building how many towers, that was interesting. I like games that let you do that, so I said, oh, I'll make 3 5 towers and a couple 2 towers. You know, how does that work against an opponent who does mostly 3 towers? That was interesting, but this game loses its flavor pretty quickly, so it's merely okay, and that's not good enough for me to recommend.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Tom, will you please shut the door?